Alright, it's Matt Mrozek. This will be work in progress number 2 on the Narin Wolverine kit. So as you can see, I have them all primered up. So this morning I spent another couple hours just going over everything and making sure he looked good. So yesterday's video, we added magnets to the arms, pinned and epoxied the legs. I went in with my body filler, filled those in, sanded them down. Once I primed everything, I had a couple little areas I had to go back in and do a little more putty work just because I didn't quite get it all. Super easy. I just went in with Bondo spot glazing putty. This is really good stuff for like last minute pinholes or little things that you miss. It's not good for filling big deep gaps because this dries by air and it takes forever. But it's really good for a little small thing. So like I had a little spot here that I missed. I just basically took some of my fingers, smeared it in there, let it dry for about 30 minutes, sanded it down and reprimed. So I had a couple little areas along the seam line to fix there, and now they're gone. It looks really good. His legs are one piece. As far as imperfections in the kit, there's I found like 2. So the kit quality is very good. The Hellboys I've done in the past, they typically will sand everything down and reprime. I don't have to do that on this. There was like one little piece of resin sludge on the jean here, one little bit on the arm. So this is, he's ready to go. This is primed in Badger Style Res Primer. I have the blades over here primed. So with these, I'm not going to do these first. I'm going to do these towards the end. But these will get wet sanded really good with like 2000 grit sandpaper, and then I'm going to do like a chrome look on them. The only thing I haven't primed with cigars, I'll do those very last. So in talking with my client, we're going to do an older man Logan look on this portrait that he's wearing right now where he's smoking. And then we're going to keep this one younger looking, which I think is a smart move. And it's funny, everyone has been commenting on how this looks like John Travolta. And at first I didn't see it, but now I've got him in primer. He kind of looks like John Travolta. So it's kind of funny how your eyes will do that to you, make it look like someone recognizable. But yeah, this looks really good. So the magnets are the perfect strength. It's good to have strong magnets, but you don't want them too strong with it. When you put the pieces on, they snap together because that could cause damage. So they fit really nice. So this is that look for this guy because he's holding a cigar. And technically you could do this too if you wanted with both claws out. This is the arm here we did the putty work on. And of course it's not real pretty in here, but that doesn't matter because you're not going to see it, but it fits 100 times better than it did before, and there's no gap. So I think the first thing we're going to paint is the shirt, because that's actually the easiest thing to paint. So let's put all this aside. And we were talking back and forth, me and my client, about what we're going to do, and we kind of decided on jointly. One second, let me get everything else out of the way. Is we're going to kind of go for a slightly cleaner look. It's a little different than what you typically see on this piece. You'll see a lot of guys do a lot of weathering and dirty them up a lot. And we both just kind of decided, you know what, let's do something a little different that you don't see. So it's going to be a little cleaner look. And just getting everything else out of the way. And it kind of fits this sculpt because he's not battle damaged. He's not he hasn't just gotten done beating someone up or tearing someone apart. He's just kind of chilling out. So it kind of makes sense that this would be a little cleaner look. So we're going to get this all taken apart. Put all the parts over here, my foam blocks I use. And I think I showed you pinning the waist yesterday. Let's put this all to the side. So I think today what we're going to try to do the shirt and work on the jeans, because the jeans we have a color palette in mind, and I've got a technique I want to try to replicate denim that I kind of looked up and found online. So we're going to give it a shot. So the shirt, it's just a white beater shirt. I'm going to get out my awesome baby towel for my kids that I use to put stuff on. I think my air compressor's going. No, I gotta turn my air compressor on. 1 second. So for the shirt, I'm going to go with the GarageKits.us grayscale kit paints. And I think I'm going to do cool. I'm going to do cool tones. So we got a whole line of paints here from Jesse at GarageKits.us. He put out a nice grayscale set. I think last year these were announced. So we got like basically it's 7 different tones. He's got a warm set and a cool set. And actually the warm set is actually pretty cool in tone, and the cool set's really cool. So I wish I had some more of this denim blue. That's a great blue for jeans to start off with. Cool gray 5. I got that. And these are all semi-transparent, so you can do a lot of layering. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Not that I'm going to use all these, I'm just going to pull them all out. 4, 7. Where is it? Warm gray, warm gray. I may have to take a break and go yell at my kids for a second. They're making a lot of noise. Warm gray. I have these all mixed up, unfortunately. I had them separated at one point. Cool. Warm. 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 I like the bone white. I'll probably use that as the main color because it's a little, it'll look good on top of all the other tones I'm going to do. Cool gray number 5. I'm just missing number 6. Where's number 6? Transparent smoke. That may be good for some shading. Alright, well I can't find cool gray number 6, so we'll just do warm gray number 6. It's not going to make that huge of a difference. Okay. So, alright, so we're going to do, I'm going to base coat this first in the darkest tone, which is number 7. And a lot of people made fun of me in my pictures the other day when I posted a photo of my hand covered in paint. So I get working and I forget to put gloves on, so I don't wear them very often. Yep. Some alcohol here, a little rest of my painting. About time to get clean on my airbrushes. I typically, after a project, I'll go through and get my airbrushes a really good cleaning because I'm so hard on them during a project. Especially when I'm switching colors, I just maybe this still has some transparent orange in it from last time I used it. Alright, so let's go in here with this. We're going to go dark to light. This is number 7. It's almost black. So there'll be a lot of back and forth again, as I typically do. I don't think I'm going to worry about getting this cover 100%. I kind of like it when it's, you kind of see some of the primer through, it gives them some nice tonal variation. So I'm backed off, I'm just kind of lightly missing this on. The great thing about these paints is that I can hold a piece, and by the time I'm ready to paint this side, I can handle it. I'm not going to take the paint off because it dries pretty damn quick. It's not cured, it's just dried at the touch. go ahead and give this a good coloring. I'm gonna need a little more room to work with shading wise. Let's go around it one more time. All right, that's pretty good. So that's our base tone. Now what I'm probably going to do, so number 6 is quite a step up from the darkest tone. It's actually quite a bit of a jump. So this is tone number 6, kind of a dark gray. And we go in and we start kind of hitting these big highlights, and then we're going to start coming in tighter with brighter and brighter highlights as we get in closer. And then we'll go back in and do a little post shading back in the shadows. So again, it's back and forth. And these are all semi-transparent, so you'll be able to see underneath all this the previous tones. And now I have the light on the left of me turned off because, like I mentioned in other videos, I like to keep, when I'm trying to see the sculpt, I like to keep it side lit pretty good, because if it's all evenly lit, you can't see all the shapes. So this just creates some shadows on the piece of all the different shapes, and I can see all the details in the sculpt. So that's why it may be a little dark on camera, but now this is a wife beater, so it's gonna be pretty bright in the end. But we're starting dark, working our way up. It'll take us a little while to get there, but it should give us some nice layering and tones. I'm gonna go ahead and hit these folds real quick. Just hitting all the high spots. Alright, that's pretty good for this color, I think. Excuse me. So I'm just going to work my way up through all these different tones. Every time just kind of hitting the highlights. And what happens is you hit the highlight, the paint kind of fogs down into the shadow a little bit, helps blend it in. Because the paint hits the top of the highlight first and then fades off down into the shadow. That's kind of why I work this way. Okay. Not sure if we can see anything in there, but it's looking pretty good. And as I get brighter and brighter, I'll get tighter and tighter on what I'm doing. You can see I'm backed off pretty good right now. Again, just creating real soft shapes. And as this dries, I see kind of spots where I missed where I could hit again. As it dries, it gets darker, and you'll see the shading better. Get the spot I missed right here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's move up to number 5. You can see these separate. You got the kind of the white and the pigment and the carrier, they separate. So you got there's a paint shaker I want to buy. And I've been looking at it for years. It's expensive. It's about $150. But it's basically a guy takes, it's a vortex. You just push it down and it rotates the paint. And I've been looking at one for years. I think I need to bite the bullet and get one. Usually just bang against my hand. But you're supposed to, shake these for a minute. I never do. To really get it mixed up. All right, so now we're getting a little brighter. I'm gonna actually dial on my airbrush a little bit. So this is my Iwata HPC Plus, and what I like about this is the needle adjust on the back is really easy to use. It's super quick. So when I'm making this line, I've got the needle pulled back as far as it'll go. I've got it locked into place. When you first spray the color, it looks pretty bright, but then it dries down. So right now I'm just in the tops of the wrinkles. Hope you guys can see that. And then a little closer than I was before. Still not super tight. Still kind of want this to kind of fade off down into the shadows. This creates my mid-tone kind of. If it's a bigger wrinkle, I'll back off a little bit, make it softer. If it's a smaller wrinkle, I'll get tighter, make it tighter. Like these are kind of small, so I'll get a little closer. This is real small, so I'll get real tight, so I just hit the top. But then I back off, so I start close here, and as I get to this area, I back off to soften it up a little bit. So there's some technique involved to get the right shape of the highlight. So I start close to the piece here, and as I get over here, what's a bigger shape, I back off. Right here, it's real tight. So I'll just get real close and just hit the top of it. So I'm going to repeat. Just what I'm doing right now, I'm going to repeat until I get to the brightest tone. So the down and dirty way to do this was to paint everything white and then just go in and hit the shadows with like one color. And one thing you'll find with like factory paint jobs is that's what they do, is they're not going in and doing all these steps. So that just makes the paint jobs kind of flat. You know, they're doing, you know, if it's a custom piece, they're doing, you know, 30 to 50 of these. At Sideshow, they're doing 1,000. So, you know, if I don't have the time, a little dry tip, and clean off my amount of Q-tips up there. Take the needle guard off and get really tight. I watch some of these airbrush artists that go in there and they get like I mean their needles almost touching the paper, and it's like, it's crazy whatever they're working on. It's so crazy how tight they get. They can draw like these are pencils. It's insane. I am not that good with an airbrush. I think anything else you do it long enough, you practice, you get there. They're basically illustrating with an airbrush. It's crazy. But see this step right here, you get to start to see all the kind of cool details in this shirt. So after I hit these wrinkles, I will go in and hit the highlights on the muscles and stuff real lightly with this color. And I'm doing it this way so that when I'm doing the wrinkles first, and then I go and hit the muscles, because that way, when I hit the muscles, the wrinkles will just get brighter again, which would make sense because they're taller, hitting the light harder, or light hitting them harder. There's a method to my madness. And basically, I always ask myself, how is the light hitting this? Well, what would be brighter, and how would I make that look like that? got the wrinkles done. You can see here that so that's where I just sprayed, but if I turn it around, you can see how much it dries down. It's pretty dramatic. I would say from the time you put the paint on and it dries down straight, it dried down 2 or 3 shades easily. So like when I used to do Gundams, I would paint one color a day because I would paint it and let it dry overnight to see what it dried down to, and then I would adjust from there. So it was a very slow process. All right, so now I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna kind of hit these real light. I'm just backed off. I'm gonna hit the muscles a little bit. The muscles are kind of hard to see because they're underneath all the wrinkles of the shirt. So the abs are kind of hard to see. They're there, it's real subtle. I get a lot of times asked, why don't you just go from the black right to the white or to a mid-tone? Because I like this. This is a slower process, but I get a lot of cool variations and stuff that probably don't see in the photos and stuff. But when you see it in person, it gives it a really nice, gives things a real nice and natural look. So it's again, it's just to give it a better, more natural look looking at the piece in person. Again, I paint with the purpose of looking at these in a collection, not in a photo or in a video. So it's a little different. A really good example is like, so when I was a kid, not a kid, a young adult, they had a tour of Star Wars models that had been used in the movies. And like, oh, cool! I'm gonna get to go see the actual models that were used in the movies. And then I looked at them, and they looked like shit. They looked so. The paint was very dirty and messy. It was really punchy and contrasty. And like, man, that's not what they look like on film. And then as I later, when I started to paint and stuff like that, I realized that they had to do that for one reason. They were shooting on film and it wasn't digital, so you have to compensate for the media that they were using, which is film. So in order for things to show correctly, they had to add a lot of contrast and a lot of dirt and grime on the models for it to render correctly. Otherwise, it would look really flat on film. So they over exaggerated the contrast and everything. So it made sense. Okay, it's looking pretty good. All right, so there we are with this tone. Looking pretty good. Let's go to number 4. Kind of do the same thing. So eventually what we're going to do is we're going to get to a point where I'm really happy with how the highlights and everything are looking, and then I'm just going to go kind of mist over everything to bring it to an overall tone. Okay, so this is a semi-transparent number 4. This will be a little brighter than the previous color. You know, just gonna, again, these are semi-transparent, so you can go see kind of all the work you did below these. Get the wrinkles first. I think what I'm going to do is on this one, I'm not going to hit the muscles with this. I'm just going to do the wrinkles and work my way to the brightest color with the wrinkles, and then I'm going to mist over everything. I'm kind of liking where my mid-tone is right now. Mid-tone meaning this kind of area. It's going to get brighter, but it's a good. I think it's a good place to start. I'm just seeing the wrinkles right now. I find that if I kind of make big strokes, like broad strokes like this, I can get a much straighter line. The hand doesn't wander as much. Okay. I'm happy with that. I think I'm going to jump up to number 2. We're going to do the same thing, just hit the wrinkles. Getting a little tighter. It's a little quicker process once you kind of get to this point, because you're just really hitting the tops of things. You're not establishing shapes. The shapes are there. You're just kind of adding to it. to hit these a little bit here. Just a tad. Okay, now I think I'm going to start misting on, kind of bring this all together. And then mist on number 1. I'm going to build it up slowly. I'm going to back off and mist this on. My phone overheated a little bit, so I lost some of the recording, but hopefully it doesn't overheat again. Anyway, so I misted on the number 1. I just misted on a few light coats of semi-transparent bone white, and this is where I am. So we're looking really, really good. Now I'm going to go in with semi-transparent pure white, and this should get me to, I'm just going to slowly build this up so I don't lose all the shading and stuff. And if I need to go back and add some more shadows, I can. But this should get me to white, or pretty damn close. A white beater isn't, you know, it's only white if it's brand new. So I'm just going to mist this on. I'm going to build this up real slowly. And this is semi-transparent pure white. Basically one kind of mist coat. Probably will go hit the shadows one more time with a transparent color. The transparent smoke, some of the deep recesses. Again, as I spray this, it dries down, I can see better what's happening. You can still see all my shading and everything that we did earlier. Hit from up here a little bit. It's looking pretty good. I think I'm about there. Funny because I spray a side, I was like, oh, looks good. And then by the time I turn it around after spraying the other side, it's dried down. And I can see I need to mist on another coat. So that's why we're just doing this real light. a little bit at a time. Then when I hit this flat, it'll pop a little bit more. So this is, 30 minutes of just spraying the shirt. Okay. And do one more round of this, and then I'm going to go back and hit the shadows, just really slightly on some of the shadows. Pretty good. I'm going to go back to, I'm going to try to look at see what this transparent smoke looks like. This may have a little green in it, I don't know. Okay, so this is transparent smoke. We'll see what it does. Yeah, it gives it a nice little it's got a little bit of green in it. Gives it a nice look to the shadows. Just doing this really, really light. Yeah, this looks good. Kind of another little tonal variation to it, so it's just not grayscale, white and gray and black. Some of these big muscles I'm just backing way off. Giving it some very subtle shading with this. And then the wrinkles will get a little tighter. Yeah, it's looking good. Just about done with this, I think. Dry tip. It's transparent dry tip really, really quick. I may do one more thing after this. I may go back in with just the semi-transparent pure white and hit some of these really bright spots. We'll see. I'm gonna hit this part underneath the arms pretty good. Pretty decent shadow there. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to seal this. I'm going to dry brush some white on top. The final step. That way I get the pure white on the top spots, and everything else has got a nice little shading and stuff. So I'm backing off. I'm kind of hitting the underside of the pecs here a little bit. That's looking really good, I think. This transparent was the perfect color for this. Has just a little bit of tonal variation to everything. It looks really good. Okay, so I'm going to seal this, and then I'm going to come back and dry brush some white on top. All right, so I sealed that. I hit it with a hair dryer, and I'm going to use. So this is a really cheap acrylic. This Master Touch. This is just super cheap acrylic. This is titanium white, and I'm going to dry brush this on. The great thing about this is that this doesn't have a crap load of pigment in it, so I'll still be able to see everything. I'm just going to, one second. Sorry, my kids are being crazy. So it's not going to cover everything up too bad. So I'm going to get some on a flat brush. I'm going to take most of it off. And we're just going to hit the tops. And the chest. like that. Just using the flat part of the brush. A little too much right here, so we're gonna get a damn Q-tip and take some of it off. Great thing about these acrylics, you can do that while it's still kind of wet. Just take it off. Going against the texture in the shirt, so I don't get paint down in there, but until I hit the wrinkles. There we go. I always want to go perpendicular to the detail when you dry brush. This is probably all I need to do on this. Again, got a little too much in there. Just damn Q-tip, take it off. I think that looks pretty good. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with that. A little too much on the chest here, I think. Take some of it off. I just wasn't happy with how this looked right here, so I'm just kind of smoothing it out a little bit. I'm going to soften up the pecs a little bit. So I'm going to go this way. And some weird looks right there I'm not happy with, so. I think I'm just picking something up in the sculpt. It's bugging me. There we go. Just smooth it out a little bit. We're getting there. Keep seeing little things that are bugging me. Just trying to smooth it out a little bit. I think going this direction is better. It's giving me the look I want. I thought it should be going this way, but it should be going vertical. Sorry, my phone is ringing. Anyway, I was just saying I think going this way is giving me a better look than going the other direction, so I'll do that. Got a little kind of weird thing there, just going, take a very lightly damp Q-tip and smooth it out a little bit. All right. I keep saying I think we're there. I keep seeing little things. My kids are being ridiculous. I think I might do a very, very light misting of the semi-transparent white on top of this. So I like what I got going on here. I just think I need to bring it up one more level. Yeah, so let's do that. I'm just going to do it right on top of this. Alright, this is the semi-transparent white. I'm going to back way off. I like it, but it's got a little grimy looking, I think, for what we talked about. There we go. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's where I need to be. I think just going back and doing the shadows was helpful, but I think it got a little dirty looking, and we're not really looking for a dirty look. So this is just going to help bring it all together a little bit. So I think that's where we need to be, especially once I seal this, it'll pop a little more. So I think the shirt's done. I like it. Everything's showing up, all the shading showing up really nicely. Pretty happy with that. So I'm going to seal this, and then we'll work on the jeans. All right, moving on. So after I did the shirt, I sent a picture of that to my client. He said it looks good. While I was waiting for that response back for him, I kind of worked on the blades a little bit. And what I did is I primed these the other day. So I wet sanded them with 220, and then I wet sanded them with some 800. And then I sprayed on a gloss black. Now it's not like mirror gloss, but it's pretty shiny. So I'm gonna let these dry for about a day, and then I'll hit them with either I'll do I probably won't do chrome. I think chrome claws on Wolverine looks really bad. It doesn't make sense. I'll probably do my Kosu Jinsun, which is like the polished stuff, and polish it on there, and then that should take care of the claws. I've actually glued these sticks onto the very ends because there's nowhere to clamp onto these without seeing that later. So I'll just, at the end, I'll just cut the stick off, and then you'll glue it and you'll never see it. So we're gonna work on the jeans. So my goal tonight was to get the shirt done, which I'm done, and get the jeans done. Because I need to let the jeans dry overnight before I can move on doing the leather belt and the boots. And I need to get some direction on the boots anyway, what color he wants. So you can see I've base coated this in a blue. This is the color, this is called Mr. Color Intermediate Blue. And we're going for a stone washed kind of denim. So this is just the base color. And then I sealed it with Mr. Color, and it's been sitting for a couple hours. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do what I did with the Deckard shirt. Because I think I want to stipple and try to get some texture in there, the look of denim. So I just have a bunch of my craft paints over here. I thought about using some purple, but I don't want to put purple in there. I think that will shift the color too much. Basically, I've got a slew of blues. I'm going to start dark and go to light. This is just called navy blue. And then the next one up is going to be cobalt blue. And then we got royal blue, and then we got twilight blue, ultra blue, and then white. So I'm going to start from here. I'm going to work my way up, and then we're going to just kind of, if you watch my Deckard video, the ending result was amazing. This shirt looked really, it's actually some of my favorite painting I've ever done. So I'm going to put these to the side so I can try to get my camera on top of what I'm doing. And I got my palette. I just got a palette over here. I forgot I had this really big palette. I put it away and I haven't brought it out in a long time. So I'm just going to put some, I'm just going to use it straight. I'm not going to dilute this at all. Now these are these cheapy craft paints, which work really good actually. A lot of my painter friends use them. And just because they're cheap doesn't mean they're good. They're just not highly pigmented, meaning that there's not a lot of pigment in the paint, which is actually perfect for what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to take most of this off, and we're just going to kind of come in here and start stippling this on. And I may not do this all on camera because this is a very slow process. So you want this very kind of random. I'm not trying to cover up the color underneath it. I'm trying to get a little texture in the paint. So hopefully it gives the illusion of denim, like a denim look when we're done. So we're going to do this. So I'm going to do this color, and then I'm going to seal it. So I got to make sure I don't roll it over on that towel because I just wiped all that off because it wasn't dry. So I got to hold it. Make sure you're getting all the nooks and crannies. All right, so I'm going to do this, and then after I seal, I'll come back. All right, so I went and sealed that. That was the navy blue. So now I think I'm going to go in. I'm going to go ahead and do this cobalt blue. I'm just going to use the same brush. Maybe do this a little less. The trick is to make sure that you don't get that you stipple, because if the brush kind of slides, then you get a brush stroke, and it looks weird. You want to see that stippling. That's what gives it the illusion of fabric. So it goes on, it looks pretty bright, but it dries down pretty good. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we want these to look kind of worn. It's looking pretty good right in there. So right now these look brand new, but we're going to get to the point where they're not going to look brand new. I think what I might do is not seal this next leather. I think when I did the decorative, I didn't seal between the colors, and what that does, it helps kind of, when you do this, it kind of helps activate the previous color, and kind of adds to the look that we're trying to get. It's looking pretty good. I'm not sure if that's showing up in camera. We got this real nice little tonal variations, discrepancies in the pants, and that's what we're going for. It'll be more prominent when I go to a brighter color, which is, I think we're going to do now. We're going to go up 2 levels, I think. This part's actually going pretty quick. It'll slow down when I go in and start picking out just the folds and stuff. I'll go with the smaller brush for that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So that was cobalt blue. Now I think I'm going to go up to, let's see, I want to see how much brighter this is. This is Twilight. Just go to this. Yeah, I think we're going to do this. Okay, I'm going to bump up. I'm going to go to ultra blue. This is pretty bright. So let's see what happens. If I don't like it, I can always go back to our previous color and kind of blend it in. So this I've got pretty sparingly on the brush. I had to pause for a second to go pick up my daughter from dance. So we're going in and we're doing this, what is this? Ultra blue. Doing it pretty light. My brush is fairly dry. When the brush being as dry as it is, we're starting to see bring out the highlights and stuff on the wrinkles. So we're going to go for a faded kind of look. So when I do the highlights, I'll hit the tops of the thighs pretty good. That's too much. Actually, it's okay. It's in the butt. We want that worn out looking. I'll probably go with the airbrush once I get everything kind of where I want and darken the shadows a little bit with some clear blue. It's starting to look good. Now we're getting somewhere. That's when I start getting excited. When it starts working out the way I want it to work out. Because half the time I don't know what the hell I'm doing. The brush being really dry is the key to this step right here. Once I'm done with this color, I'm probably going to go in with the highlight color and start selectively doing like the tops of the thighs and the wrinkles and stuff. And may do a little dry brush. Let me do some dry brush. We'll see. And they're doing that on the Decker kit, and that was kind of the pop it needed. This is looking really good. Again, this doesn't have to be 100% like evenly coated. As far as like just want to make sure I get a consistent look everywhere. I got a little too much there. It's all right. Okay, that's looking really good. Okay, I think I'm gonna go seal this, and then I may hit with some dry brushing and go from there. Alright, so I thought I'd just give a little shot here. So I just got some straight white on my brush, took just about every little bit of it off, and I'm just dry brushing on, and this is giving me a really nice worn look. It's real light, picking up all the details and everything, using the flat part of the brush mostly. This really shows the sculpt really nicely. I don't know, I may not have to do any airbrushing on this. This may give me the look I want. It's been really good. And it's real light, and there's hardly any paint on my brush. And my kids are fighting over Fortnite. So I'm going to hit all the tops of the wrinkles first, and then I'm going to go in and work on like tops of the thighs and the buttocks a little. I hit the buttocks pretty good already. Yeah, it's looking really good. Looks like denim. Mission accomplished. You can see over here I did it earlier and it came back and it dried down a little bit, so as it dries down I go back and hit it again until I get the look I want. Alright, I think it looks pretty good for the wrinkles. I'm going to hit the thighs a little bit. Brighten those up pretty good. As it dries down, I go back and hit it again. Alright, sorry, my phone overheated and it stopped recording, so I continued dry brushing the white on there. It's a little punchy here on my phone, but it's not this contrasty. They have a really nice faded look to them. After I finished the dry brushing with the white, I'm just going to describe what I did. I went back in with the brush and I took in some of my shadow color and midtones, and I went back and I just stippled into the shadows a little bit, kind of blending it in. I mixed a color here using all three colors with a little bit of white, and I just kind of stippled onto the knees to give those kind of a worn look. I did the same thing on the butt here, kind of stippled that on, and then I dry brushed it again with white. So I just have to just tell you what I did because my phone stopped recording. Sent a picture of my client. He loves them. So the jeans are done. The shirt's done. So tomorrow I'm going to finish up the belt and the boots. And then I'll probably do the base next. And then as always, I say skin tones for last. So if I get a good amount done tomorrow, I should have everything done tomorrow except for the skin tones. And if I get done with the boots, the belt, and the base relatively quickly, I may do the skin tones too tomorrow, so we'll see. But this is the end of work in progress 2. It's a long one, but I think it's got some cool techniques in it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So we'll catch you next time. Bye.